And we are back.
We are back.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen?
Hello, YouTube.
Tonight we are drinking Blue Run
You are
Kentucky
drinking.
Straight Emerald Rye Whiskey, cask strength. I have not tried this yet, so you guys can see it. If it'll focus. It's trying to focus on my face. There we go. Boom.
You can see your face through the amber liquid. That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not the 14-year bottle that I've been hunting for, but I found it on a shelf, so fuck it.
Yeah.
That was a good sound.
That was a pretty good sound.
Doesn't smell bad.
No?
No, doesn't smell bad. Glug, 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 glug. All right. So what do we got going for the night? That's me talking to you, woman.
Oh, to me?
Yep.
I don't know.
I don't either. I guess we should ask AJ. AJ, what do we got going on tonight?
No, we got a few things. So if you have seen anything on TikTok about the perfect, like it was the perfect wedding walk down, if you pull up in the drive, it says social media expectations.
All right.
So this is a woman who went viral for wedding TikTok reveals after divorce it was all a lie. A woman who went viral for a sweet wedding video has revealed that both the video and her marriage were fake. In 2021, Mackenzie Robinson, who goes by the username, her name, on TikTok, posted a clip of her wedding day, which she showed her now ex-wife failing to fight back tears as Robinson walked down the aisle with her son. The video received more than 8 million views, with many people commenting that they wanted a relationship that looked like theirs. And if you want to go ahead and run that, Chris.
All right. Who the fuck cries like that? Who does that? Knowing that this whole thing is fake, I mean...
That's very, very extra, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm confused. So is it two women or is it a man and a woman?
It's two women.
Okay.
Okay. Because I've seen videos of men who get overly emotional at the altar. And it's never to that extent.
Crying happens on
Right, it
wedding
does,
days.
yeah. So,
But that whole deep breathing, I'm having hyperventilating, panic attack breaths seems extra.
whole thing's fake.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was waiting on AJ for that one because that's the first I've seen that.
So it says back in June, Robinson posted another video with more than 5 million views saying that it bothered her to see the comments gushing over their relationship because it was fake. It lasted 7 months and it was not love. It was fake, she said. Those were fake tears. It was all a lie. She left me 3 months pregnant. But I wanted to bring this up because we see all the time about these perfect viral videos, and it's the perfect engagement or the perfect wedding, and the expectation that normal people that go through life that don't have these events excuse me, happening to them every day, they see it and they kind of have a false expectation of what their day-to-day life should be.
Why are you looking so confused over there?
Okay, so that wasn't a staged wedding. They actually got married. She's claiming that the whole relationship was faked.
Correct. She's basically saying that the comments about how it looks like the perfect relationship, I wish I had that. It wasn't a perfect relationship is what she's essentially saying, and that TikTok and the virality of the video on how perfect their relationship seemed in that moment is not what it actually was.
AJ, are you telling me that a woman faked it?
I am, in fact, telling you a woman faked it.
No, I would never believe that. Women don't lie. They don't fake things.
That was well played.
I was holding that shit
I could
back.
tell. I was like, why do you look like you're getting ready to pop?
That bitch has some heat to it.
So her moment of crying and stuff, that does seem over exaggerated to me. I think she was very overwhelmed with emotion and didn't know what to do with herself, so it played out as
Hyperventilating?
yeah, the having to be grabbed and all of that moment of almost falling over. It's a lot. I think it's kind of shitty. If you don't act like that when we get our vows renewed, I'm gonna be upset. I want to see you in the fetal position crying, watching me walk down the aisle.
Fetal
again.
position?
Yeah.
I am too fat for that. Knees to chest ain't gonna happen. I don't even know what to say about all of that. Like that, what a thing.
I think it's a lot of backpedaling. It's being hurt and going, I wasn't that happy and nobody saw that I wasn't happy and now they're all gushing over this when in reality I was miserable.
Then why get married?
Right, then why get married? I view that as a lot of backpedaling and trying to save face, I suppose. I don't know. If you weren't into it in the moment, if you weren't feeling the love.
Of the like that perfect moment type thing, like for everyone that is so addicted to TikTok these days, the perception that these over extravagant type days we're all missing out on them because that's not what we actually do on a day-to-day basis, but it's what we're ingesting for content.
What were you saying, babe?
I don't remember.
As for the it being fake thing and people ingesting that in content and having high expectations, is that any different than women reading fantasy novels or men watching porn? Or the tough guys who watch Tombstone and want to be a cowboy, or Yellowstone and want to be a cowboy and think that they're just some badass now because they can buy a fucking Stetson hat and some cowboy boots? Like, people chase the things that they want, but nobody's willing to do the work to have it. And if they were willing to do the work to have it, that whole fucking fake social media wedding nonsense that we just watched would have actually had sustenance to it, and they would have worked for it. Who the fuck gets married in 7 months?
I mean, good question.
I mean, obviously it happens.
So the woman, the one that was in the dress walking down the aisle, said that was faked?
The one that was walking down the aisle, correct?
Okay, so flip side of the coin, all of that was true, pure emotion, right? And that woman standing there and she's actually really deeply in love with this woman walking towards her and they have a son together, or she's a stepmom, whatever the situation is. Her coming back out and saying that whole thing was faked and she never truly loved me or there was no love there could be a massive slap to that woman's face. Like, that was all real to her.
Could have been.
That sucks.
Yep. Damn, Evan said his parents did after 6 months and lasted 23 years till their death in 2013.
Good for them.
That's wild. That's wild. Somebody said next topic. I agree. Because this feels like just misery. What's the next one, AJ?
The next one is about Gen Z workers. If you want to go into the drive, and it is labeled Gen Z workers.
I got it. All right.
And I wanted to get your take. I know we've been doing a lot of business talk in the men's group, and I think this will help see your perspective on it.
Okay. Let's run it.
I'm going to end TikTok real quick.
Okay. Send them all to YouTube.
All right, so TikTok, I'm turning it off. If you want to be a part of the conversation and continue watching, head over to our YouTube channel, the number 2 be better. I will see you guys there.
AJ, are you hitting screenshots on the chats?
Yeah, I'm getting them.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
What do you do when you manage a team of like Gen Z people who don't care to go above and beyond?
You give them a percentage of the company. Do they own a percentage of the company? No. Then why do you expect them to go above and beyond expectations? Only people who own.
Right. So right off rip, I'm going to pause this for a second. I would not just give an employee percentage of a company because they work there.
Right.
Why am I going to invest my money and my time and my effort into my company just to give it to somebody else who's just going to show up one day and be like, here you go, and then work for a couple weeks and then decide to quit? Because once they own a percentage of the company and they
Mail money.
no longer work there, they still get that percentage of that money. So where's the investment in that?
That's unfair to the business owner when you think about it.
Right. And when you have 100 shares,
Yeah.
we'll make it real easy, 100 shares, and you have 30 employees and you give away 2/3 of your business, and half of those employees quit, and you have to hire new people, and those people want percentage shares of your business. Where are you left when that's all said and done?
Yeah.
It's not how that works.
You know, so saying it's unfair to have a percentage taken or given, weeks later they quit, they still get that money, right? It's
Right, as a share.
it's a disadvantage to the business owner. Well, them saying that expected to go above and beyond is unfair towards the employee. When you are working for the right person, it's not.
Right.
That's how you show that you have discipline and integrity and that you have drive for something in your future. And when you're working for the right person, they see that and recognize that, you're going to get so much further in life.
Right. Everyone has heard of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Not many people have heard of intrapreneurship, meaning growing from within. So if I hire somebody like Jeff Graham, who's a phenomenal employee, doesn't fucking make excuses, shows up on time, goes above and beyond, has the hospitality with clients, and I slowly elevate him to a position where I decide I'm going to open a private studio or another shop and make him a partner, that's him working, paying his dues to get to that point. He is an entrepreneur.
Right.
He built on my brand to the point where I was able to put him in a position of his own to continue my legacy on his name, right?
Yeah.
That's entrepreneurship. That's something that you can discuss.
Yes.
Why would you want somebody as an entrepreneur if all they do is come in and punch the clock and go home? I'm not saying to not pay your employees. I believe that you should pay your people really well and you should
Yeah.
try to take care of them.
Definitely.
But to give up a part of your business where you're the one taking all of the risk and they have no risk, if you start, let's say you give away 2/3 of your business to your employees, right? Because they're now shareholders. In the event that your business starts failing and you have a month where you are $30,000 in debt, is that coming from that 2/3? Are they going to give you the money? I guarantee you they don't, because it's your business, not theirs. They're shareholders. This is a bullshit fucking argument.
It is.
This comes from people who have never really owned a business and don't understand the business mindset. That's just all there is to that.
Yeah.
You know, there's
All
been
right,
a
so you guys actually. Oops, sorry.
there's been a lot of startups that have actually done the startup thing and given away parts of their business, and they've all failed. What were you going to say?
So you guys actually had the exact response that I was expecting, and leading into the article that I came across. So Gen Z, as the first TikTok said, they're not doing above and beyond anymore. They're just doing the bare minimum of the job requirements, and they're not showing any initiative.
Right.
Now, this article says Gen Z are being delusional, quote, at work in order to land promotions. Delusional Gen Z workers are claiming to have cracked the code to landing your dream job and getting promoted with minimal effort. Since entering the workforce, Gen Z have introduced a plethora of new work trends, mainly focused on work-life balance and dismantling the hustle culture mentality. It started with quiet quitting, then we have bare minimum Mondays, lazy girl jobs, and acting your wage are just to name a few. Now there's a trend, and Gen Z says it's the secret to getting promotions and achieving your job or your dream job. So being delulu or delusional is a term that skyrocketed in popularity across social media, with hashtag Delulu having 2.3 billion views on TikTok alone. But why does Gen Z think that this will help them be successful? Essentially, the Delulu mindset relates to the belief that if you act like the thing you want is already in your possession, such as a raise or promotion, then that thing will be attracted to you. It may be connected to the idea around manifestation, but the word itself, Delulu, is also tongue-in-cheek. So basically, they're saying that if you act like say a manager, and you start taking on some roles and responsibilities of that job that you don't currently have, that will then in turn manifest the promotion or raise.
So you're saying if you want the job, you do the job that you're trying to get and then ask for that position. How is that delusional? That's how you fucking level up.
Exactly. Thank you.
I will take a hard worker over 3 or 4 lazy employees. And I will take that hard worker and I will invest heavily in them. And here's an example. And this is not me bragging. I swear to you, this is not me bragging. In the 13 years that I've been in business, I have bought 3 cars outright for employees. I have replaced someone's mouth with dentures. I have done another person's wisdom teeth. I have replaced tires. I have bought, I have helped people move from state to state to get them down here, to get their family down here. I've let people live with me. I have gone above and beyond for the people that come into work every day and do the things that they're supposed to be doing because I value them as a person. If somebody that's working for me shows up late all the time, bitches and complains about everything, doesn't want to fucking do the job, and don't want to be there, I'm going to let them go. If you don't want to be here, leave. It's my superpower. I no longer need you. Your position's no longer valid in the company. You can go ahead and pack your things. That's how that works. I'm not going to pay somebody to half-ass a job. I'm not going to go to work and give less than I'm capable of doing. It's just not who I am as a person. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to give it 100%, or I'm not fucking doing it. That's lost in culture nowadays. This shit really gets under my skin. I'm gonna finish playing the video.
Own a percentage of the company should be doing that. This is something I have actually told one of my.
All right, one more time on the percentage of the company thing. All right, so let's say you give out 2/3 of your shares, right? Say 75% of your business has now been given to employees, and you decide that you want to rent 15 billboards across the state of Georgia running up I-75, right? It's going to cost you $280,000. 75% of that money coming from your employees. If you don't have the money to do that, are they going to chip in their salary and their cut to make that billboard work? Because
are you asking me?
That's how that would work, right? They're 75% owner of the company. They technically should be floating most of the bill on all the money that's being spent. What happens when you don't have rent that month? Are they paying the rent? Are you having shareholder meetings where their bank accounts are linked to your business? Because if they're not taking the risk, why do they get the bigger reward? That's the whole point of being a business owner.
Right.
I have 24 employees that fucking depend on me to make sure that their bills are paid. They make sure their bills are paid by showing up and doing the job that is provided for them that we have created. If they show up and don't work, they don't eat.
Right.
But I don't expect them to buy the marketing. The 150,000 plus I spend on marketing every single year doesn't come out of their pockets. It comes out of mine.
Freelance editors who doesn't own a percentage of the company. When I said, hey, don't kill yourself doing this job, we can get it whenever we get it, they said, no, this is an investment in. So I stopped her right there. I said, you're not investing in shit. You don't own a piece of my show. Just do the job I'm paying you for on the timeline that we're paying you for it to be done, and don't murder yourself doing this job. You have no reason to do that.
All right, that's enough of this stupidity.
Yeah.
AJ, I have a question for you. Are you on here still?
What's up?
As my editor and my publisher, the work that you do you view that as an investment?
The work that, you know how I came in. I came in as the work that I was going to do was going to be an investment into whatever it became. I wasn't expecting to get paid for shit a lot longer than I ended up being.
Right. And now you're making thousands of dollars a month editing and doing all the things that we ask you to do because you've invested your time and your effort into us. And as we grow and we do things, you are going to make more money long-term off of it because you have a work ethic that a lot of people lack. If I message you at 2:00 in the morning and you're up, you respond to me. This is how entrepreneurship becomes entrepreneurship and people are able to grow off and do their own thing. And in the event that one day you want to have a To Be Better seminar where you explain to other people that want to be producers of shows and become the next DJ or Jamie for Joe Rogan, you now have an in because you got a fucking silver play button in your house from a YouTube channel that started from you sending somebody an email going, hey, I want to give you $150 to talk to you on the phone for an hour. Like you invest in you and you do the work and you look at everything that you do as an investment. You can't get that time back. If you're editing and you're doing things for us, you are selling us your time. You are investing your effort to make sure that we succeed because you are going to succeed in the process. This is how people get raises. This is how people grow other businesses. They franchise, they branch out. This is basic economics and capitalism. I don't understand that logic at all. That shit frustrates the shit out of me.
That's why I found it so hilarious that the Gen Z is calling this delusional. Like, no, this is how the work works. You go in, you show that you can show up on time, do the work, then you show that you're capable of more than the work that they prescribed for you, and you get a raise. And then they go, oh, wow, he is capable or she is capable of doing more. Let's give him a shot. Like if you're just doing a bare minimum, no one's going to be like, we should give him more responsibilities.
No.
And if they do, it's probably not a good company to work for.
Yeah, they're if you're doing bare minimum, they're absolutely looking to phase you out. You can see this, dude. I can't wait until Buffalo Graphics gets all their shit in order, and I can go 1 year ago today. This is where we were. This is where we are now, and this is what happened and why. Because everything that I've dropped in Jordan's lap, he's taken it and he's fucking ran with it. And he's completely transforming that company. In the last 2 months that I've been working with him, his company looks completely different.
Yeah.
And it's thriving. And the people that are there are fucking happy and thriving too. Like, I don't know. It's just wild to me. I'm now annoyed. So thank you for that, AJ. That's really what I was going for on my Sunday evening.
It's kind of my job, isn't it? That's what I pick. That's what I was told to pick anyways, is the ones that make you go,
Yeah.
So speaking of the next one, if you want to go to, what did I
want to
title
do
it?
Woman
It
Cries
is-
About Work next. I want to do the
That's the
whatever
one-
podcast.
that's the one
clip
that's
last.
up.
Okay. Before we get into the whatever podcast clip that we have, I was vehemently against this. I understand. I've watched this podcast, this specific episode with the girls that are on this panel, and like I don't want to take part in the bullying that comes from that podcast towards uneducated women and people who can't think for themselves. And we're going to do this because I know that there's a whole lot that you want to talk about that's happening there. I have a problem with the whatever podcast and the way that they deal with shit. I just wanted to put that out there because I never wanted to react to any of their shit. Okay. Moving on to Woman Who Cries About Work. Let's see.
Whoever fought for women to get jobs. Why? Why did we do that? I am so tired. I want to just put my feet up. Like, I am... Oh my god.
So the article that I found that goes with that one is Working Woman Cries and asks why we fought for women to get jobs in the first place. And quoting, "I'm so tired." So it's no secret that many of us would dream of earning full-time salary without having to complete a strenuous day of work for 8 hours, 5 days a week. Even if most of us were not required to work and did not make money we do at our jobs, it would be nice to be able to kick our feet up and relax much more often than we can imagine. One woman believes that this lifestyle was once right at her fingertips before it was stripped away by women's rights activists in the 1900s. She reminds us that there was once a time that women were not allowed to work outside of their households and admits that she is more suited for this life than the current one she's living. Now, this article kind of is claiming a whole lot of stuff that's definitely not in that TikTok at all. But they quoted what she said, "Whoever fought for women to get jobs, why?" And I thought it was just a hilarious TikTok and the frustration that I think everyone going to work feels, not just women, but I thought this tied in pretty nicely.
Yeah, it was good. Babe, you were somebody who had the stay-at-home life for a little while. And I think it's fair to say at this point you don't have that because we do work with the podcast and we are opening other businesses. We are building studios. You went from being a stay-at-home wife where you got to basically smoke and just kind of hang out and do your thing and
do
work a
whatever
little
the fuck
bit.
I wanted whenever I wanted to.
And now we have work schedules.
And I hate it. I cried in a vlog the other day.
So do you think it's fair to say you don't hate it? Real shit. I know that you say that, but you don't, because when we're at lunch, you're like, we have these conversations and like we're people watching and like, you get to be like, can you imagine, can you believe this is our life?
Well, I can actually tell you my feelings if you would like to know.
Okay.
I'm not taking away from what you just said. What I hate about all of this is the mental turmoil I go through because it's stressful and it puts me back in fight or flight. And I've never had a stable man in my life to do anything. So I am literally fighting decades worth of survival instincts to be okay with I can work and I'm not going to be killing myself working because I'm not doing it by myself.
Right.
I do love everything about the podcast. I love where our life is going. I love the platform we have. I love the fans, the people who interact with us is amazing. But the mental turmoil that I have to fight through to get to that point of being able to enjoy all of it, I hate it.
I know that you do struggle with it sometimes. I'm not trying to take away from that. I also know that, as you said earlier, there are days that you love it and days that you hate it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the way that it's going to be. But
Yeah.
so as a woman who went from being the stay-at-home mom to even working now, and real, true honesty, the workload that you have from the podcast is less than 10 hours a week, because I handle everything else. Anything that you do beyond that is like your vlogging and like research that you do, because you record, and I try to make sure that I do everything else so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Because there's a guilt that like you were the stay-at-home wife and now we have fucking businesses and jobs and we're, you know what I mean? Like there's something about that. Irrelevant, completely irrelevant.
Right.
The whole question that I'm trying to ask, the reason I even did all of that fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
How much easier was it to be a stay-at-home wife than even being what you have now with a part-time job?
So much easier. I didn't have the stress of, if we don't record, it's going to fall apart. If we go on vacation, we're going to fall behind. So we either have a massive workload before we go on vacation, or we have a massive workload when we get back from vacation. And then I have to figure out all the housework inside of that. So before we leave, I have to make sure the house is ready before we go, along with the podcast. When I just had to worry about the house and cooking and the kids and taking care of you, my life was so easy. There's a different stress that comes with owning a business. And I think that's part of my problem as well. With going back to work in this is, I'm not just an employee.
No, you're an owner now.
So that's a whole different stress. There's numbers I have to worry about, and income, and making sure that we're keeping people intrigued enough to stay or come back, or maybe come for the first time and look at it's a lot. My life was I was sitting in the rainforest at 8:00 at night with a joint, just talking to frogs and looking at the stars.
Is that a deer? I think there's a deer out there. I'm going to go look after the vlog is done. People were like, don't go into the woods in the dark. Are you nuts?
Were they really saying that?
Yes, they were. Do you think that it's harder now for women who are in the workforce than it was for the stay-at-home wives in the 50s and 60s that everybody says were slaves?
Yes. I think it's harder in a different way. In the 40s and 50s, is that what you said?
50s and 60s. 40s and 50s works too.
Either way, there were world wars happening. There was the aftermath of world wars. We just came out of a Great Depression.
Yep.
There were, of course, horror stories of housewives being beaten and massive abuse happening. That's not everybody's experience, though.
Right. Well, and I think that's a really good point too, babe. That's a really good point. People don't ever bring that up.
Right.
There's a whole lot of trauma that happened to people that were not able to deal with it, and PTSD wasn't a known thing back then.
Right.
Ooh, that's a really good fucking point. I've never thought about that.
Really?
Really, not once have I ever thought about that. I've always approached it from the men went to work, provided, did the things so that the women could fucking run the household. And like, that's as far as my brain went with it, because I put it solely on gender roles. But you're right. From World War II, World War I, World War II in Vietnam, Korea and Vietnam, like all of those men came back fucked up. Like,
well, I mean, World War I, right after when would World War I happen? In the early 40s or the 30s?
No, World War I was earlier than that.
20s? The late 10s.
All right, hang on. You're hitting me with too many questions.
Bob Barker just died. We can't play the Price is Right with war years.
Oh, no. Did he really just die?
He did, at 99 years old.
Oh, wow.
World War I was from 1914 to 1918.
Okay, so we had World War I, the Roaring 20s, a massive depression in the 30s, right out of the 30s into World War II.
Right.
That's when women started going into the workforce.
And then Korea War and Vietnam War.
Right. So there's a lot happening. It's not just women were being abused. Everybody was fucking going through it at that time.
Yep.
So grouping all housewives into battered women is just offensive. It is. We can acknowledge the people who went through things and acknowledge that there was trauma to women in that time. And on the flip side of that coin, we can also acknowledge that there were nuclear families that were fucking doing it. The kids were being raised right. The husbands were happy. The wives were happy. They were living their life the way that they wanted to live it. They weren't stressed. And that proves the video that we just watched that we have come so far. Women who want to do what I was doing with the stay-at-home wife thing are just condemned. I don't even remember what your question was.
You answered it. You answered all of it, and then some. It's wild to me that my brain never correlated that. Right? My dad's a Vietnam vet.
Right.
I have a lot of family that's military. I have a lot of friends and employees who are veterans. I understand that plight a lot better than most, even though I was never actually in any of that.
Right.
But like, because I've seen it and I've lived around it so much that I have personal life experiences that I can relate to. The older vets, the guys that came back from D-Day, the whole
Storm
Normandy
Normandy.
thing, right? Like that, all of that. Those men just dealt with their shit, and they had the VA unions, and they had their meetings, and they talked about things because nobody else could relate to it. And those men are very different than the men who are now, because we understand mental illness now and TBIs and psychology in a way that we didn't 100 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So like to think that men 100 years ago simply didn't have to deal with the demons that the men have now, they just processed it differently.
Right.
So in that scenario, of course, there's going to be things. I have a client who broke his neck. He got surgery done. He was a Vietnam veteran. He was having a nightmare one night. And like he was supposed to be in bed, not getting up, moving around, shouldn't have been able to walk yet. His spine was healing. And he had a nightmare that he was being attacked in his dreams. And he ran across his house before he woke up and realized that his body shouldn't be moving and
shit.
collapsed to the floor. You can't tell me that people have those kind of experiences and that they're just fucking okay. They're not.
No.
So in that scenario, of course, there's going to be tragedy and trauma that happens in those households because people didn't have an outlet or know how to. Mind's blown right now.
Also, when you think about it, going into World War II, there were men begging for jobs to feed their families. So not only are they already leaving their family with fucking nothing, they're now going to war probably dying.
Yeah. It's wild. Brain never equated that shit. Okay. Whatever this one is. I'm going to real quick go grab a different whiskey because I don't like ryes, but I wanted to try this and I need another drink. I shall return.
I shall eagerly await it. Eagerly. Oh, fuck, he's so hot. It's stupid. I'm so stupidly attracted to him. Oh, a massive voicemail from the kids. Okay. Oh my God, I look like a mom in her 40s. Putting my phone down. Hi, Janae. Peaches is the goat. What does that mean?
Greatest of all time.
Oh shit, look at that. Greatest of all time. Wild. What do we have now?
Wild Turkey bottled in bond. 17-year, which I normally don't like anything over a 12-year because it tastes too much barrel. It's got a bitter aftertaste to it. But this is a hard to find, expensive bottle, and I actually like it. I just don't drink it very often because I don't want to buy it again. So,
Y'all say no judging moms in your 40s. Y'all are fucking liars. You know you sit there and look at your phone like this. Everybody in their 40s does it. I do it, and I'm not even in my 40s.
I don't do that shit.
I'm not making fun of y'all. My ankle's so itchy.
Put it over my shoulder and I'll itch it with my facial hair.
Fuck. I was thinking of getting the potato peeler. Someone said I want to be her when I grow up. You want to be me? That's crazy. I
Okay.
can't believe I get told that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be way better than the last one. I really don't like rye whiskeys. All right. So what do we got with the Whatever podcast, AJ?
So that was one that Peaches had sent in the group chat. I think it was something about women's oppression, if I remember correctly. The title of it is The Oppression of the Western Woman. If you want to go ahead and roll it, Brian kind of talks about what this clip setup is.
All right. So this is 19 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole thing.
You don't have to.
Okay. Do you want me to play a certain part of this?
You can just start playing the beginning of it.
Just tell me when to end it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to have you pause a couple of times. But the beginning and the work up into it is important to it. And then there's just a climax. And from there, it just falls apart.
Word. Go. Oh, wrong button. I thought I was being slick.
So the big spat that you had with John was about oppression. and you said you got quite.
Yeah, because I already know what you're gonna ask me, and I'm just gonna tell you this now.
Hold on.
Google. You can look
Google.
up Google.
Google.
But it's not my job to school you on something that you should have learned in school. Women have been oppressed, and women still are oppressed because there are literal child slaves. There are black women, disabled women that experience oppression all the time, and Native American women as well. And
Native American women.
It's also Native American men as well. Aren't they oppressed?
So go ahead and pause. So she is talking about oppression, and she's bringing in multiple factors. Children are oppressed. Black women are oppressed. Native American women, disabled women. Those are true. There are certain oppressions to those certain demographics. Would that be the word for that?
That is the word.
So that is true. But there is also oppression for black men and disabled men and boys, boys. There's oppression there as well. So the conversation is, how are women, the gender itself, oppressed in America? So bringing in the other factors, I feel, devalues her argument a little bit. I just wanted to point that out. Also saying Google is a thing, that is true. Women's oppression can be Googled. If you can't give the solid points backing outside of saying you can also Google it and do your own research to form your opinion, that also weakens your argument.
Right. As she wants to talk about female slave labor and like young female children in the workforce, I'm willing to bet that she owns an Android or an iPhone.
Probably.
Yeah. And how do you think that that's made? So you can't make an argument about oppression and child slavery when you support products that actively utilize that to make the things that we consume.
Well, when you recognize that we're the consumer, these would not be made if we didn't buy them.
Right.
We are actively oppressing.
Right.
Americans as a whole are actively oppressing buying Apple and Android products.
It's the entire world, because people don't want to pay more money, and it doesn't affect them because they're not the ones who are fucking being oppressed.
Yeah.
I would also like to point out before we move forward that there are no laws on the books that affect women differently than men or men that differently than women, or even in terms of color.
In America.
In America.
Yeah.
There are none. The only things that affect differently in America are things like affirmative action. And when you have issues in terms of Asian people going to Harvard because they're too smart and the test scores are raised much higher to make it harder for them to get in. There are discrepancies in equality, but there is no laws that separate any of that. That shit's done.
Right.
So that argument is a problem for me to begin with. Anything else before I continue?
No.
Okay. I really hate these kind of conversations.
Yeah.
Were you going to say
Hey,
something?
Chris, she's saying she's oppressed, but I believe, I can't remember if it was this episode or another one that I've seen. I believe she has an OnlyFans as well. So she's super oppressed as a woman while making money with just her body and not having to go to work.
That negates your entire argument.
It does.
Okay.
I'm talking about women right now.
You're talking about women?
Yeah, because the question was how women have been oppressed, and I'm just gonna say it's not my job to educate you and school you on that. And if you don't know,
if I reject your presuppositions, then you do need to explain to me.
No, I'm telling.
And that's exactly it. If you're going to have an argument with somebody and you can't explain your points and you can't actually articulate that, you don't need to be having that argument. You're regurgitating other shit that you heard with no foundation or understanding of the conversation being had.
I concur.
Okay.
Telling you this, I'm telling you, like, it's not my job to school you. Like, you should have learned this in school. And honestly, it's a little scary that you don't know how women have been oppressed in the past, because, like, this country was like built for men, and these like laws and
oh my God. Okay. All right. This country was built by men, not for men, by men.
Yes.
Our Constitution says that we have the right to the pursuit of happiness, not guaranteed happiness. And there was a whole lot of things that were fucked up at the beginning of this, because everything starts fucked up. You want to start a business, you're going to have a whole lot of trial and tribulation you got to get through. You want to start a relationship, you got a whole lot of trial and tribulation to get through. In terms of our country, we are 258 years old. We are fucking young. And we have corrected a whole lot of things in that time frame, right?
Yeah.
During that time frame, it was a man's duty to fight, kill, hunt, provide, and protect his women and children. So even if her argument was accurate and it was built for men by men so that men could thrive, it is our duty to make sure that you guys have everything that you fucking need. Now, whether or not men have those values is a different story. That comes down to the parenting in the home. The fact that there are more single, empty houses than not is a whole different conversation. But at that time frame, a man's duty was to lead his family. That was his job. It wasn't his woman's job to make sure that that there was fucking, food on the table or in the house.
Right.
It wasn't her job to go out and hunt and kill. It wasn't her job to go out and work. That wasn't a thing. So at that time frame, when you look at that, of course that fucking makes sense.
Right.
Because how are we going to make this the best country we have for our wife and kids? This is the conversation we're having. These conversations annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah, it is very, very empty conversation. There's no sustenance there. Even from the points that he makes, he has solid points that he does make. There's no backing or it's because of this. It's just, and I got you moment.
Right. And that's my problem.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the past. Cool. You can't change it. You can learn from it. You should study the fuck out of it to make sure that it doesn't repeat itself.
Right.
But do you think that all the shit that she's talking about right now that's happened in the last 250 years hasn't happened for the last 10,000 years all over the planet? Because it fucking has. The problem is this is not talked about because it's not part of the culture that's affecting our country right now.
Right.
All right. This whole thing is going to annoy the shit out of me. I can feel it.
Chris, remember that part in Billy Madison where he gives the answer and the moderator's like, "Thank you for that wonderful answer. Having listened to you, we are all now a little bit dumber."
Yeah.
Rules like all
Erroneous.
they all
Erroneous.
it's all to like for men, like it was built for men. And like this podcast enough is showing me that sexism is still really alive.
Can I ask?
Okay, so we went from oppression to sexism.
Right. Well, she's an OnlyFans worker. So she literally sells herself. So the sexism is already there. She does it to herself, if that's the case.
Yeah.
The question I have, though, is because she said that the fact that this podcast exists proves that there's sexism. Is this actual sexism, or is this just varying opinions and people who have a deeper understanding trying to have a conversation with idiots to prove that, like...
There's a lack of intelligence.
Right. Because I guarantee you that there are very intelligent women out there who have podcasts that do the same thing.
Yes.
This shit just annoys the fuck out of me.
Wow. You think this podcast is sexist?
I was posted on so many red pill incel accounts. Yes, it's giving incel a lot.
Oh man. Okay, all the buzzwords are coming out. I don't even know where to start tackling this. Okay, so women were oppressed.
That chick to his left, clearly not impressed by anything that the chick just said. Did you see all of that? Okay.
In history.
Absolutely.
But so were men. It's
How?
not
Not as much as women
now
were.
this is interesting, because if I say how were women were oppressed, you're like, well, it's self-evident, Brian. I shouldn't have to educate you. Yet you've just asked me the same question. You've just asked, how were men oppressed? Shouldn't you know?
No, because that wasn't taught in school.
Pause. So her whole conversation was, I shouldn't have to school you. I shouldn't have to prove my point to you. It was taught in school. You should have paid attention. This is a you problem. And then flip reverse, like he was saying, don't you see how that contradicts? And she goes, well, it wasn't taught in school. So if females' oppression, women's oppression is taught in school, but males' oppression is not, where's the real oppression coming in?
So it's been a long time since I've been in school. When I was in school, we still had to pledge allegiance with God in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Is that not the case anymore?
It's not. It's been a very long time since I've done any schooling. But I remember learning about the struggles of man in terms of having to go to war and fight.
Yeah.
and the risk of being killed while you were hunting, and like the horrible shit that men did to each other from arguing tribes and clans, in terms of like Scottish, the heritage, things like that. There's a lot of things that I learned about how horrible people were to each other.
Yeah.
That's just humanity. It's been like that since the dawn of us. It's us versus them. And if you're not part of us, you are part of them. And we're going to try to kill you. That's the way that it's always been. So why all of a sudden is it about the differences between he and her?
Right.
When you're just part of them and I'm part of us, so let's continue to just try to kill each other. Like that's really what I get from all of this. I don't understand the logic in these arguments. And it doesn't solve anything.
Because there is no logic. This is an emotion-based argument. There has been oppression across humanity, like you were saying. Women have experienced oppression, men have experienced oppression. And like you said, history does teach the wars. That men were drafted into war. You didn't have a fucking option. Women didn't have to do that. That's a privilege.
That falls back into what I was saying earlier about a man's job to protect. And if that's the case, and it was written into the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Federalist Papers that it was our duty to be drafted and you were not, that solidifies my argument about the Constitution and the founding of our country being based off of us taking care of you.
Right. I remember what I was going to say. So she was pretty much giving off the air of the argument that it was taught in school. You didn't pay attention. You don't remember. This is a you problem. She said it wasn't taught in school. You go over the world wars. We talk about the drafts and how those are only for men, those kinds of things. So you didn't pay attention in school. This whole argument is bullshit. We can continue watching if you would like to.
I would really not like. I know that you have a whole lot of oppression conversation that would like to happen, but if I can not watch the rest of this, that would be great.
So it's not a whole lot of oppression conversation. I wanted to watch that because this is going to lead into, I'm going to do a series of a woman's call to action. And I'm going to start with talking about oppression and how women in America are affected by that. And that's going to lead into the call of action of what the fuck are we going to do to better ourselves and everything that's happening to us.
What does that look like for you?
What?
The betterment.
The betterment? Losing social media.
Oh, that's a fucking statement.
Focusing on yourself and finding what makes you happy. Not looking at 500 different Instagram models and looking at different relationships like ours and going, I really wish I had that, and going, what can I do to get that? It starts with looking at yourself inwards, recognizing that yes, you have trauma and you are also traumatizing people. It's a lot. And it's gonna be a multi-series thing. I'm gonna talk about mothers. I'm gonna talk about single women. I'm gonna talk about stepmothers. That's gonna be grouped in with the moms. I'm gonna talk about women who are CEOs who are trying to maintain a family. It's gonna be a very across the board.
And this is the call to action that stemmed from my men thing, that women were like, you need to do one, you need to do one. And you're going to take it so much further than I did.
Yeah. I have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I decreased my screen time by 20% this week.
Oh, dope.
I have kept my phone away from me, and I've gotten people to start texting me when they need to talk to me versus sending me messengers so that I don't have to open other apps. Do you really think that Instagram is that big of a detriment to women?
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
So I worked for 2 soda companies doing back-breaking labor. My spine's fucked because of all the heavy lifting I had to do. I almost created an OnlyFans. Seeing Instagram models posting about how much money they're making and it's so fucking effortless. Why would I not do that when I'm over here killing myself, trying to support myself, paying $2,000 a month for rent? Why not?
Could you imagine how bad that would have sucked if you would have done that and realized that most OnlyFans subscribers make less than $200 a month? And it definitely would have prevented you from ever being with me.
Oh, yeah. You know how depressing it is to get 100 photos for 99 cents on my OF? Really? That's what you're selling yourself for, is 99 cents?
Damn, that's like dollar store shit.
Yeah.
The reason that I asked about the social media thing is because I know that there's been psyops done against the consumers, and that they have made us depressed, and they've admitted it.
Yeah.
But they sell us everything that they sell us based off of we're not good enough. And then you find yourself mindlessly scrolling for hours on end, trying to find something to make you happy. The longer they keep you on the app, the more you consume advertisements, and they're able to sell you.
Yeah.
And then they sell your data to other companies about how long you've looked at an ad, which ads you've clicked on, your demographics. This is a very interesting thing when you really break down what they sell.
Right.
But I also agree 100% that social media is going to be the downfall of us as a whole. And because of social media, we have Tinder and hookup culture. I don't believe, I mean, obviously there were one night stands and players and shit back in the day, but it became prevalent with the greater connection, the greater reach of social media.
Yeah.
I think that it destroys who we are as a society, and I think that it's going to get a lot worse. I'm actually excited for you to do your thing.
Yeah.
Because I want to see how much I agree or disagree with.
Okay.
Someone said, I'm gonna be honest, I have an OF, but everything on my shit's over $5. Well, you're 5 times more expensive than the value brand.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to discuss in this before we get into super chats?
No.
That whatever podcast shit and the gotcha moments bothers me.
It makes me nauseated.
I don't think that making somebody look like an idiot
Yeah.
is going to further your plight. It's not going to make people feel better. Even in the event that he was educating people that otherwise did not understand what was happening,
Right.
the delivery is going to turn a lot of people off to this because there's an arrogance to it and a pompousness. And like, I don't know. I think that a true debate is going to be so much more beneficial than that.
I agree. From my understanding, like I don't watch the podcast. I see clips of it. From my understanding, I am the kind of woman that they talk about on that podcast that they look for. High value men look for, insert me. Not my looks and shit, but like my values and whatnot. The way that I treat my husband.
Excuse me, bitch? What? You are banging. Do not disrespect my woman's looks.
Okay.
I am not okay with that. You are upper echelon.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Okay. Thank you.
You are exactly the woman that men on those podcasts want.
So as a woman watching that, I tell you constantly I'm proud to be your wife.
Right.
Never. Brian, no, you're not it. The woman that you preach about, from my understanding, I'm assuming, like I said, I've never watched the content. From assuming if that's the kind of woman that you preach about that you are looking for in society, and that's what high value men are looking for. As a high value woman, I am not impressed by you.
I don't know if he's ever actually claimed to be a high value man.
Yeah.
I do know that he's had some high value. I hate that fucking term.
Yeah. All of the high value men I've seen on that podcast are not it. I'm good. No, thank you. You're like Monopoly money.
You know that the advent of the high value man and that term being thrown around puts an emphasis on a man's money, which further instigates the gold digger mindset for certain types of women.
Can you repeat that for me?
Okay. So the high value man conversation is only prevalent within the last like 2 years.
Right.
Having that high value man and the emphasis being on the income and the entrepreneurship and the business side of that man, it instills more gold diggership tendencies in the women who chase those men. So if you put high value man on a good father, a blue collar worker, a man who fucking works from sun up to sundown, like
1 day off a week,
right, kills himself to make sure his family thrives, that changes the entire concept of what a high value man is and what a woman is looking for in a high value man. Because now she's looking for a protector, a provider, a husband, a leader, a father. That is a much stronger argument to me than somebody having worth because they have a bankroll. Because you can have a bankroll and be a complete fucking scumbag.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know what's happening right now, but I just saw the chat say, it's me, Jessica. All right. You want to do some super chats? Because
Yes. And I kind of want to get food.
yeah.
Do food.
I got Chipotle ordered. Well, Michelle ordered us Chipotle right before the live. We had to like scarf it down. But super chats are on their way.
All right. All right. Super chats. For those of you who would like to get our attention and absolutely have our undivided attention, send us a super chat. We will be answering them. Okay. Neubauer said, cheers, Chris. Let's have a good live. I'm on my second drink, so we will. Maggie Thomas sent us $20 with no text. Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
Every time I see your name, I want to go, wake up, Maggie. I think I got something. Every time. I can't help it.
Never heard that song.
What? There's going to be a new song I'm going to be singing to you in the mornings. Are you having performance issues? Does your microphone need some Cialis? Julie Rocks. I think he is saying a documented profit sharing program, not actual shareholders. It absolutely lends to higher yielding productivity, which increases net profit. Not all professions lend to starting your own business, though. You're right that they don't. Having profit sharing just means paying your employees what they're worth, and I agree with that. If I was a CEO of a company that made $5 million a year, that money would trickle down. Because the more money that my employees make and the more incentives I have for them to work hard, the more money I'm going to make long term. You're going to build a brand, and eventually you'll be able to sell franchises because you'll have a proven track record. That's a whole different discussion, though. Maggie sent another $20 and said, God has perfect timing, and I came across you guys at a very low point in my life. I really sat down and analyzed my life and decided it was time to stop feeling sorry for myself and do something. We'll email soon so I can share the change. I'm actually looking forward to that email because I love it when people send accountability emails.
Me too.
I can't believe you've never heard Maggie May by Rod Stewart, especially with your music taste.
I might have. I just don't know the name of it. I'm going to listen to it off screen. What is it called?
Maggie May by Rod Stewart. I think. Might just be called Maggie. I don't fucking know. Yeah, Maggie May. All right. Julie Rock sent another super chat. Thank you, Julie. She said, my HR recruiting budget is insane just to try to find people with the work ethic that you are talking about. It's not what we want, but finding people who think like this is not easy. Bro, let me tell you. The hardest thing about being a business owner is finding and keeping good employees. Nikki said, I just want you to know what wonderful humans you are. We need more of you in this world. Keep up the amazing work. This is true live and loved by faith. I think she might have said this is true love and loved by faith. Brianne became an early access member for 2 months and said, just want you to know how much you are both appreciated. I was living the spoiled housewife life before. Since finding your podcast, I see every day how we are all striving to be the best we can be. Garrett said, there's a predatory environment online around convincing women to sell their bodies, and I hate to phrase it that way. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And you know what? It's ignored and people just accept it. So what does that say? You've heard that song, right?
No, I have not.
Oh my God.
Never heard that song before.
Well, I'm going to have to just start singing that to you then.
Okay.
Sam Bradley said, I appreciate y'all and this episode. He gave me the Italian fingers thing. Sabrina said, all September Virgos unite. Our days are almost here. Micah said, how do y'all deal with kids that tell you they don't want to go to their other parents' house?
Ask them why. Find the root of why.
Is that the end of that one?
Why?
Because that's something that's kind of prevalent. I mean, that happens with a lot of people. I just didn't know if you were going to really deep dive that because you are very in tune emotionally to the children, and you're able to have conversations with them that most parents would avoid having or not know how to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you really think that?
I believe that.
Huh.
I don't think it. I believe it. The average American spends less than 40 minutes a day with their child with uninterrupted quality time. Go play on your tablet. Go watch Netflix. Go get on your video game. Leave me alone so that I can sit here on the couch and be miserable by myself scrolling the internet. We don't have a connection the way that we used to. I have seen you have conversations with a 4 and 5-year-old that most adults can't articulate. So how does that conversation come about? Like, deep dive that. That's not something we can just scroll past.
So it's multiple I would suggest multiple conversations. And it depends on how old the child is. Younger children, 3 to 6, will try anything that they can to get their way. And they will cycle through their tools. I am starting to recognize, like, damn, my daughter really knows how to fucking manipulate me.
Yeah, she does.
Like, she's good at it, and I'm starting to catch it, and she's getting pouty that I'm catching it. And after I catch it, it's, okay, so you knew you were getting away with it. So it depends on the age of the child. For younger children, it would have to be multiple conversations, and you would have to be observing how the other parent acts with the child. If you don't spend time with the other parent, with your guys' child, you're fucking up. If you don't know what their house looks like, if you don't know the people that the children are hanging around, you're failing a little bit as a parent. It is your job, it is your duty as a parent to that child to know what is going on in their life as long as they're a minor. Children will cycle through things. Like I said, it will have to be multiple conversations. And you can't jump on a bandwagon of, oh, that happened.
Yeah.
Going off, you're never seeing the kids again, calling the courts, calling the cops, police report, whatever. Depending on the thing.
Right.
Of course.
Obviously.
Of course, depending on the thing. We are staying away from extremes in this scenario. So say a child says, I'm bored. I'm bored there. I don't want to go. I miss you. Children will hit you with that. I miss you.
Yep.
I believe you miss me. I miss you too. I'll see you in X amount, whatever time. It's important that you spend time with this parent. Children go through that.
Yep.
Dad and I have split custody of the children, and there are times we have to sit down and go, I know you miss me. I'll see you this time. Maybe I can talk to mom, or maybe I can talk to dad and you can spend an extra night, whatever. It is important to reinforce in children that the other parent loves you. The other parent wants to spend time with you. The other parent misses you as well. You don't want to divide that shit, and jumping on that bandwagon of panic, I don't want to go there, I miss you, is going to cause a problem that 9 times out of 10 doesn't have to arise.
I agree with that.
So after multiple conversations, it could simply boil down to they get more attention from you. When they're at your house, they get an extra hour of attention. Maybe you guys cuddle at night before bed and watch a movie together, and they don't do that at dad or mom's house, and they miss that.
Right. There's a lot to that too, and the boredom one is a good example.
Yeah.
Because that could also come down to a financial scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Because if one of the parents have it easier in terms of their finances, or they have a higher paying job and there's tablets or TV or video games, that's a lot more fun for a developing mind than sitting in the room and reading a book.
Right.
For most kids, realistically. Or let's say you live in a gated community and your kids can ride their bikes there versus where the other parent lives, or you know what I mean? Like there are factors that come into that. But the kid being able to articulate what the actual problem is what's important.
Yes.
And you need to be able to have the conversation with the other parent away from the kid. Be like, hey, this is what's going on with our child right now. I don't know if you're doing this. I'm not blaming you. I'm just letting you know it's a concern. They're obviously bothered by it. I'm gonna let you know so you can fix it. Don't blow up. Don't make a big scene out of it. Just try to make some corrections. Course correct. Spend more time with the kids. Make things better. Mm-hmm. That's co-parenting.
Maybe nicer tone.
Right.
Maybe after a discipline happens, sit down and have a hug with them in a conversation.
Yeah.
It could be a plethora of things.
That's so fucking necessary. All right. Next super chat. Autumn Fox said, what is your opinion about high school sweethearts?
Cool.
Yeah, dope. I don't understand what you're asking us there. I think that high school sucked. That time frame of your life is not a fun time frame. You'll look back on it with great memories, I'm sure, but 15 to 25 was the worst decade of my life.
I was good at the saxophone.
Chloe Cooper sent us a $5 super chat with no text. Lorraine became a member of Early Access for 5 months. Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you both.
She said, I plan to use that journal as a life update to send back. That's pretty dope. She's going to fill a journal and send it back to us. That would be wild.
That would be dope.
Kim Martin said for $4.99, when good work ethic is treated the same as poor work ethic, it's more difficult to want to maintain good work ethic. I fucking agree. A bad apple spoils a bunch.
Yep.
Raylan said, is it normal for one spouse to say to the other, I don't feel like talking right now?
Yes. I mean, it depends on how it's said.
I would rather be on my phone right now after I try to talk to him while he is scrolling Facebook idly.
I need more context to that.
Yeah. So the first part of that, because they put a semicolon there, so there is a pause to breathe. I don't feel like talking right now. That's normal.
Mm-hmm.
That's normal human behavior. Sometimes you just want to be left alone for a little bit to be in your thoughts and process things. We do shit all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to talk about it right now. I'll get back to you. Like, I need to think about this. That's my thing. I need to think about it because I have to work through a whole bunch of shit to get to
a conclusion.
Right. I would rather be on my phone right now obviously means that they would rather pay attention to whatever they're paying attention to than you. That's a shitty situation. But yeah, there's a whole lot of more information needed there. Husband still searching for a Leo job. A police officer. I'm being supportive, but he's discouraged. Advice: he's amazing and so hardworking in Brevard, Florida. If your husband is a actual Leo who has had that job before, finding a job in Florida should not be fucking hard because DeSantis is giving all kinds of fucking bonuses to police officers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe move out of Brevard County and find a different district to work in. I'm curious to see why he's having a hard time. Are they just not hiring, or did he do something?
Does he have like
something on his record? Right.
Yeah.
We have 457 people currently watching us.
Crazy.
Yeah. Jordan, have you been in the chat the entire time? I see that you just said yes, Sax. If you've been here the entire time, let me know. Because I mentioned you earlier. Raylan's, go ahead.
I was going to say, the only thing I loved about high school was I had no fucking responsibilities besides getting my ass to school. I mean, house shit and whatnot, but didn't have to worry about kids. Didn't have to worry about maintaining a whole household. It was just my bedroom. Life. Politics.
I don't think that you could give me an amount of money to make me relive my childhood.
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Heather just asked, what's that? Did I hear Chris say patron?
Yeah. I don't have it on this thing to just play the patron thing, or I'd play it. That would be slick, though. I should probably put it on here.
That would be pretty slick.
Guys, if you have not checked out our Patreon channel yet, you should do so. It's not for everyone, and I understand that, but there is a lot of content there. If you guys have watched through the YouTube and you're jonesing for more content, we have previous episodes and exclusives. We have early release content. The Jeff Graham and Angie interview went live today on Patreon. We have multi-week vlogs. I can't say daily because even though I try to record every day, I don't post every day.
You get vlogs.
Yeah, there are a lot of vlogs currently happening.
I'm not consistent at all.
But we are documenting our life in a way that you guys don't get to see otherwise because I don't want that shit on YouTube. So if you would like behind the scenes views of our life, that's definitely a way to see it. You get access to a Discord channel that's got over 1,000 people in it. Discord is a super dope community. We are very active in growing that community.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super stoked about Discord. I also am working on getting some of our patron Discord members to the studio for some live podcast stuff coming up here pretty soon.
That would be crazy.
Yep. Austin Fox said, "What are the benefits of getting married as a man? What are the benefits of getting married?" Well, I mean, I think that depends on the woman. We really need a Discord command. I keep forgetting to ask Chris. I'll make a note. And I'll do it right after this. To answer your question, Autumn, the benefits of getting married as a man is solely dependent on the woman. It's like that for both. The only thing a man gives a woman when they get married is his last name. And if there's no weight behind that last name, there's no point to it. There's no honor and integrity there. Like your name has to fucking mean something. You become one flesh. It's two people joining to live one life together. The same problems that come from a man's side of a marriage also comes from a woman's side of a marriage. It's that people don't want to work anymore. If you find the right person, there's no thing that is a bad part of being married. You get a lifelong teammate that's going to thrive and suffer with you and is going to make your life easier because you no longer have to carry the world on your shoulders. You have somebody that can help bear it when you're fucking too weak to carry the shit anymore. I don't see, in terms of what you're asking, there's not like a benefit. Getting married's not going to, like, you can save some money on your taxes. That's a benefit. Having a lifelong partner is not a benefit. That's a fucking goal. Like, that's a dream to have the life that I have. The life, the relationship that we have, and like the way that we live and thrive together is the benefit. Mm-hmm. That's the benefit. But that 100% comes down to the woman that the man is marrying, because a man can get married and have all of his shit taken, have his kids taken away, his fucking business is destroyed. There's a whole lot of risk that comes with the reward of being married. Mm-hmm. And it should make men want to work harder to keep that marriage. I don't know. You have anything on that one before I read on?
No.
Bender sent us a super chat that said, I'm a 23-year-old male, work in a steel mill 6 days a week, Ohio. I'm on track to make $75,000 to $80,000 this year. Never focused on a relationship. Should I keep focusing on my career, or would it be good to just start dating? At 23 years old, I would start dating. Do not fucking tell anyone how much money you make. People ask what you do, you tell them you're blue collar worker. You got a trade job. That's as far as that needs to go. Until you really start like getting serious about women, don't discuss your income with them. Because at 23 years old, making that kind of money, you got a big fucking future ahead of you.
You also have a target on you.
Yep. Alyssa Mitchell sent us $1.99 with no text.
Be smart with your dating. Be reserved on certain things. I wouldn't bring anybody home for a while. Public dates, get to know somebody. Don't have sex right off the bat. Be smart with your dating.
Yep. Nikki said, was Leo in Missouri, now Florida certified? I mean, he's pagan. I don't understand what that has to do with anything. I don't see how that would have anything to do with anything. Especially because, the whole don't discriminate against race, religion, or sex. Mm-hmm. So maybe find a different county. Maybe that county is just not hiring. Okay, Michaela said, I had the question posed to me, what does a man get in a marriage that he does not get from a girlfriend? That also depends on the woman.
Yeah.
It depends on the woman. Because you treated me as if you were my wife from the beginning. And I fucking made you a wife. Mm-hmm. And I had no intention of ever getting married again.
No.
Like, I didn't want that.
You made it very well known. I really thought you were fucking with me when you proposed to me.
Yeah.
So blindsided.
I want to be cynical in answering that question, and I want to be almost negative because my base response is that he would get a woman that's going to be faithful to him and honor and respect and love and do the marriage thing. But I don't believe that most women have that in them anymore because women initiate 80% of divorces.
I agree.
I think that as a culture, we are in a pit of despair. That scene in the Never-Ending Story where he's pulling his horse in the mud, that's the dating pool. They are stuck in that fucking mud. That's what it looks like. Sabrina asked, how's the progress on the studio?
Damn, Sabrina, you stole my question. That's what I was going to follow up with once they were done.
So the studio is doing its thing. Mike is going to go in there this week to paint. I've already started moving some of the stuff over. I took a desktop that was left by the previous tenant to Buffalo Graphics to have it wrapped so that we have an actual like tabletop image. Mike's going to get in there and paint this week, and hopefully we'll be able to do some sort of recording in there Saturday. I have, depending on what the storm is doing, I have Comcast coming out Wednesday to install the internet. And then we should be able to do something this weekend. It'll be slow rolling until we get back from Vegas. We get back from Vegas, it's go time. Andrew said, how do you suggest balancing time with your spouse, your kids, and for yourself personally while keeping your foot on the gas?
I need you to elaborate.
Basically, he's asking if you are hustling and doing all the things that you're trying to do, like that we're doing, how do you balance time with your spouse and your kids and yourself? Because we know that you need self-care time. We know that you need date nights. You need to be present with your children. There is a balance of life that has to happen while you're hustling.
Right. I don't understand what foot on the gas means.
That's what he means by the hustle. Like he's full throttle. He's going all out trying to get it done.
Gotcha.
That's a difficult thing. You're going to make sacrifice. Something in that is going to get sacrificed, whether it's your self-care, whether it's date nights, or whether it's being present with your children. If you are doing all of the work now to make the money to get to that point that you're trying to get to, you will be making a sacrifice. It could be your sleep. It could be a lot of things. And you have to figure out where the importance lies. Like, does this mean we don't get a date night for the next 6 months? Or does this mean we only get one date night a week instead of two? How does that look? And you have to figure out where you guys are willing to make sacrifices in your personal lives to thrive later down the road. This falls into that suffer now so you don't have to do it when you're old.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be the same sacrifice every time you have to make a sacrifice. Like, it's going to suck not being able to spend a night with the kids, but if you need a night away to get your mind right, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And then the next time that happens, if it's going to be a sacrifice of you getting your mind right and going on a date with your wife, you got to go on a date with your wife.
I balance that by taking on everything that I fucking can until I can barely stand. And then I delegate what I can't.
Yeah.
Because I would rather trust me to get things done than pass it off to somebody else. It'd be out of my control and then me worry constantly that it's not getting done the way I want it to. Or on the timely manner that I want it to be done in. So for me, doing the things that we're doing with the podcast, for example, I'm going to go all out and do as much of the work as I can. And when I need a break or I need a little bit of help, I'll ask. But I'm willing to make sacrifices. I'm willing to not go to the park with the kids, and I'm willing to not go to beach days, and I'm willing to not go swimming and barbecues and all of that shit. And I will stay here and grind, and I will build the fucking life that the kids will get to benefit from because they'll get to go to college, and they'll get to do all the shit that they want to do in life, and they'll be set up for success because Pops worked for it. Like, that's just all there is to that. It's a sacrifice. That's marriage. That's parenting. That's business.
I love you.
I love you too. That's how that works, though. And it's not trying to get brownie points. Like that is really the way that I view my life.
That wasn't brownie points.
I know. I just needed to say that because it just, I don't know. I think it's important that men remember what the fuck we are built for. We are the workers. Our bodies are built to handle the load. Like, embrace that shit. If it's too hard, what you're really telling me is that you're too weak. If you can't, what you're telling me is that you either haven't tried or you don't know how yet. Like, it's perspective. So I'm willing to sacrifice everything for those that I love. That's just all there is to that. Azareth sent a super chat that said, first time tuning in, definitely digging the podcast. Now take my money. I'll take your money. Send some more of it. I love that.
Thank you.
Yep.
I think there were a couple of super chats you missed.
Did I miss some? Nope. I answered that one. That's Sabrina's. That's the Leo one. That one didn't have anything on it. I've read all these.
Okay.
You should be caught up, Chris.
Yeah.
I lied. Rayanne just hit you with a new one.
It's me trying to talk to him unimportant chit chat when he is on Facebook. I suggested that he say that instead of just talking for a few seconds and then going back to his phone at my slightest pause. Maybe he's not interested in the things that you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Sometimes the conversation's not interesting. Sometimes y'all are annoying to us. Sometimes we're annoying to you. There's a difference between appeasing somebody and being engaged. There are times where Peaches will talk to me and I'm flat out be like, babe, I don't care what you do. Do whatever's going to make you happy. Remind me about it next week when it's time to do this because I'm not going to remember because it's not pertinent to me.
Right.
Unless it's like super fucking important to you and I really need to pay attention to it and like it's now important to me because it's important to you. That's a different conversation. And we will also have conversations where I'll have my phone in my hand and I'll have to pause what I'm doing and be like, okay, go ahead. You have my undivided attention now. And we'll have our conversation and I'll go back to my phone. That's a normal thing. I don't know what's happening in the conversation to pinpoint what's going on. Maybe he's rude. Maybe he's selfish. Maybe you're not interesting. Maybe you're having emotional conversations and he doesn't have the bandwidth for it. There could be a whole lot of things that fall into that category. My suggestion is to send us an email with what exactly happened so that we can go, okay, here's what the problem is.
Yes.
But be specific in it because that matters. Sabrina said it could be him decompressing or even small escapism. It could be. I don't know. I get that, like, I understand that everybody has their escapisms, right? You go outside and sit on the porch and listen to the rain. That's a highlight of your day. If it's raining, you're like, oh, it's raining, going outside. And you do.
Yeah.
And I'm never like, no, come back. I get that you need that.
Yeah.
And when you come back in, you're baked and you're happy and you've recharged your batteries a little bit, and we have stupid moments, and it's fun and it's great. And sometimes I might get 10 or 15 minutes of video games in, or I'll edit or watch YouTube, or you know what I mean? Like, there's a little bit of self-care that happens for me on those things as well, but that's just who we are. Like, we need that little bit of things that gives us a dopamine response. I don't know. I know that it's almost 8:30.
Yeah.
I am also now hungry, and I would like to play Need for Speed.
Okay. Someone said get in
Which
losers.
Need
We're
for
going to
Speed?
get Sonic, and I want Sonic.
We don't have any near us.
I know it's a tragedy.
I think the closest one is in Arcadia, and I don't even know if it's in business anymore.
Yeah.
I've been playing Need for Speed Heat on the Xbox. I bought the Xbox like pass or whatever.
Game Pass.
Yeah. So, but
yeah, I flew through that when I first downloaded it. It's a older game, but they remade it. It's really good.
Yeah. Do you know if Need for Speed Underground is on there? I loved that game when I was.
Yeah, it should be. Underground, Heat, Rivals was the other one. That one was me. There was a few of them, but I played through when a couple of my buddies didn't get on for like Call of Duty and stuff. For the longest time, I just played solo Need for Speed. They're all on Game Pass.
Yeah, that's all I do. I do online play, solo play, because I'm not trying to interact or have conversations. I like to be able to pause the game and walk away from it and pick it back up when I want to. I don't have hours to spend on a console. It's just fucking crazy to me that people have that much free time. Absolutely crazy. Chloe said, love the vlogs. I'm in the process of moving. I'm wondering if it's normal that I'm paying for the move and he pays for the bills. Is that normal? I don't know your situation.
Yeah, that's not. If that's something you guys agreed upon, that would be normal for you because you agreed to it.
Okay, so let's break this down based off of the information given. I'm paying for the move and he's paying for the bills. First, last, and security on a $2,000 apartment, $6,000.
Right, turning on electric.
Probably another $400 deposit, depending on your credit, could be less. But we'll call it $6,400 already. Water bill, garbage, that kind of shit. You're probably looking at $7,000 to move. So if that's what he's paying and you're paying the move, which, assuming you're renting a truck and doing it yourselves, you're maybe a couple $100. If you're hiring a mover to come and do it, you're still less than $2,000, roughly, depending on the size of your house. 3-bedroom house, you're $2,000 to $3,000. It sounds like you got the better end of the deal. Am I wrong in that?
No.
Okay. Oh.
Zach said, Chris has like a $7,000 PC and he plays Xbox. I'm cringing.
I actually do have a $7,000 PC. And I have, the last game that I played on a computer was Zombies in Cold War. And I had a group of friends that I played with all the time, and I fucking loved it. The thing was it was very hard to get people to get on and play because it was redundant. It got very old to play zombies over and over again. I would also play.
That's why I like Warzone.
Yeah, I don't want to play online shooter against other people, dude. I don't have enough time to dedicate my time to get good at video games, and I just get wrecked in that shit. It's not fun for me.
We just fuck around. Like we do get wins occasionally, but like going into Warzone with the amount of hackers and stuff, you just go in and go for a good time. If you're going for the win, you're gonna end up mad.
Yep, and that's why I play Need for Speed. All right, let's order dinner, babe.
Okay.
Guys, we appreciate you all tuning in for the evening. It's been fun. Hopefully next Sunday night when we do this, we'll be in our studio. There's a very strong possibility that there will be a pop-up live on Saturday with somebody from our Discord chat. We'll see how that plays out. If you guys were unaware, the journals are on the website. I believe there's like 15 left. If you have not ordered a journal yet, we will not be ordering them again. This is a one-time fucking deal. Our next t-shirt drop will be the accountability shirts. The So the accountability reprint, excuse me, the accountability hoodies, the Burn the Ships hoodies, and the Burn the Ships t-shirts will all be dropping on September 24th at 7 p.m. tobebetter.com. So put a note in your phone to make sure you guys don't forget that if you want any of those things. Anything you'd like to add to that, woman?
No, thank you for being here tonight, guys. Thank you for sharing and commenting and all the super chats. It's appreciated.
Guys, if we buy Peaches a Mercedes, would you like her to vlog that whole experience? Press 1. Press 1 if you'd like to speak to an agent. Press 2 if you'd like to speak to an operator. Yeah. Damn, nobody cares. They're all leaving.
Well, you said goodbye like 3 times.
Yeah.
You do tend to do that.
I
You say
know.
goodbye, and then like 15, 20 minutes go by. You're like, oh shit, we said bye already.
That's why I Irish goodbye my vlogs, because every time I think I'm done talking, I'm fucking not. All the ones are coming. There we go. Love all that shit. All right, guys, we're out.